Hello everyone, I'm Vikram P. Maduri here. Welcome to J Softech. In this session, we're going to discuss about the SAP jobs. I'm going to do a couple of sessions on the topic of SAP jobs specifically. And these topics that I'm discussing, most of them would be also applicable for other softwares as well, other than the SAP. But specifically, I'm focused on SAP jobs. So in this session, let's discuss about the different types of employment that we can have in SAP jobs. Now, various kinds of job opportunities in SAP would be like after the training, after SAP training, would be a full-time employment. For example, you join IBM or Deloitte or Accenture as a full-time employee, wherein your employer would be IBM and you would be working on the payroll of IBM. And then you can do a freelancing job. A freelancing job is a very challenging job wherein the clients or the customers would look for people who have high experience. So I would normally suggest to go as a freelancing when you have enough amount of real time experience, at least 4 to 5 years of real time experience. Then you can go as a freelancer. End user is a more simpler kind of a work wherein if at all if you have done any functional trainings like SAP FICO, SAP MM, SD, HR, in that modules you will have end user jobs as well. In some companies you can opt for that one as well, and you can apply for them. So the end user job will not have the configuration part. Only the entry job would be there as an end user. Then we have another job as a trainer. You can also train people, but again here also you need to have some real time experience, otherwise you cannot deliver the proper kind of a training, because most of the candidates would be expecting a real time kind of a you know uh, real time kind of exposure. Then we have SAP recruiter. If at all if you're working on a placement cell, if at all if you're working in a placement company, to understand different requirements of the client and to talk to the to talk to the candidates, and to do the first kind of screening of the candidates, you can do it will help you when you do a SAP training. Then you can also join as a counselor, in which like you would be explaining to the different guys what exactly is the significance of SAP, which module they can learn based on their background and all. But having said this, you don't need the that much of experience or that much of knowledge for just giving a suggestion. But it's always better if you have a hands-on experience on one particular module, so that you can talk to the candidates confidently. At least even after the training also you can have a basic understanding about what is what, and you can explain them. uh, so even as a fresher, even if you are an SAP fresher, you can opt for going ahead as a end user or a SAP recruiter or SAP counselor. All these things fit in for a fresher as well. And L1 and L2 support in major companies, the tickets will be raised by people who already have SAP idea or SAP knowledge. So let's say an end user is facing a problem. That end user will call a customer care, wherein the customer care will in turn connect it to a technical person, maybe you, who actually understand the issue that the end user is facing, and then you raise a ticket in a ticketing tool which is already been explained to you. That is what is all about the support job. And then you can also work as a lab coordinator, which is the last thing to do. Basically, if at all if you are learning and if you want to learn a lot of things and you spend a lot of time in lab, you can also ask the particular training center or organizations to go ahead as a lab coordinator, and then you can also help others, and you can also practice on yourself. So being a end user, being a recruiter, counselor, or a lab coordinator, you can do it as a fresher as well. Even L1 L2 support also, you can also app for it as a fresher. But when it comes to full-time employee, freelancing strictly is for people who have experience, vast experience. And trainer also, you need to have an experience. Full-time employment, you can also try as a fresher as well as experienced one, provided you have a proper requirement in that particular geographical region in which you are staying right now. Now, if you like our videos, you can click on the like button, you can share it with your friends, and please do subscribe to youtube.com/jsoftech, and do not forget to click on the bell icon so that you can get any notifications whenever we post new videos. And if at all, if you are looking out for SAP trainings, or if anyone you know are looking for SAP trainings, you can tell them to contact us at info@jsoftech.com, no matter whatever trainings they are. Okay, now starting with the full-time employment, you have permanent employee, contractual employee, and contract to hire employee. So permanent employees, as I told you, will be hired by the company, and they will be on the payroll of the company, and they will be working on the company. So we'll see more in detail about a permanent employee. Let's take an example of IBM. IBM selects you and recruits you on their payroll. Even though if you are referred to the IBM through some other consultancy, they will get a one-time payment for your placements, and you will be on the payroll of IBM only. And the offer letter will be issued by IBM, and you will be joining as an IBM in IBM in their mentioned location, and you enjoy all the benefits of a permanent employee that IBM will normally do it for all the employees. Now, coming to the contractual employee, you are sent to IBM, say a contractual employee like a JH Softech, and you get selected by IBM, but you should be working on the JH Softech payroll. An offer letter will be issued by JH Softech. So IBM's offer letter will not be issued, and you will be on the payroll of JH Softech, and JH Softech will pay you the salary. So your work location would be IBM. So this is something wherein you work in IBM. You do I mean, like all the job that a permanent employee does, but your payroll will be on JH Softech, and your work location would be IBM. So this is a contractual employee, wherein you work on the contract payroll of a particular software company, or a HR payroll company. Now, why contractual jobs? So normally you can ask, like, contractual job is something on which we'll be working on the payroll of a consultancy, so why should I go for it? Or what exactly are the advantages and disadvantages of going as a contractual employee is what you need to understand. But first of all, before that, why do companies hire contractual employees? When IBM needs huge number of resources to work on certain implementation projects, to avoid long-term commitment, they hire contract staff. So what do I mean by that is, like, for example, if the company IBM needs 100 consultants to work on their project, a particular new project, and after the project, there might not be a work, there might be work, there might not be a work. So to reduce the uncertainty of keeping a lot of people on bench, on avoiding huge amount of investments, what they do is they hire people on a temporary basis, for a temporary basis till the project completes. So it's not that every time, for every project, all the companies will hire contractual payroll people. In most of the companies, the strategical step would be to hire at least 50% of the people on the permanent payroll and 50% on the contractual payroll, so that the contractual payroll people can be sent back to their respective consultancies, or to the payroll company, so that, like, they will have less burden after the completion of the project. And their then permanent payrolls, people are definitely will be there with them, so they have to place them in as soon as possible in another company, so that they'll not incur any burden of financial burdens on that particular company. So contract staffing would work only for a period of contract. So if, let's say, you have been hired for a particular project, once the project is completed, your contract will be over, then you can be sent back. There might be a chances that the company can absorb, which I'll discuss in the next type of employment. So the next type of employment is contract to hire, wherein you are sent to IBM by JS Softech, and you get selected by IBM. Initially, you will be on the payroll of JS Softech, and later IBM absorbs you as their permanent employee. Usually, you will be working on JS Softech payroll for around 6 to 12 months. Later, as an IBM employee, wherein, like, IBM will completely take you as their employee. And for that, they write a mail to JH Softech saying that this particular employee, we would like to hire it on payroll, and then Softech releases you from their payroll, and you will be hired on the IBM payroll. So this is something which is happening in most of the companies, because in the contract period, the company also knows what exactly is your work, how do you work, and what exactly is the quality of work, so that like you'll be better understanding that. So in the staffing, permanent employment cannot be stopped immediately. Notice period, and when it comes to the contract payroll and permanent payroll and all, according to the entire in general, when you talk about the staffing, permanent employees cannot be stopped immediately. So they can IBM can't say that, I can't say to a permanent employee that, thanks for your services, you need not come from tomorrow. No, they can't say like that. But when it comes to a contract payroll employee, they can immediately refer to JH Softech. They'll inform to JH Softech that this employee need not come to IBM from tomorrow. So they can immediately break down the contract for that particular candidate, and they can pay the amount till that particular day itself, and they can close the contract. So that's the advantage the company has when they hire the contract payroll people. So notice period of around 1 to 3 months, depending on the company policies. And in few cases, a strong reason needs to be produced. Okay, for example, like, if you are a permanent payroll, if you are working on IBM permanent payroll, then if IBM has to fire you, they need to have give you a strong reason why they are firing it. So they cannot easily just fire people who are in a permanent payroll. But the contract staff, as I discussed, can be stopped on the same day of the when they decide they don't need services of that particular consultant. And even if you want to fire a permanent payroll employee, then you need to show them the notice period of give them a notice period of 1 to 3 months, wherein the company needs to pay the salary to that candidate, and depending upon the company policies, they have to follow all this, so that like the candidate will not have any issues. In all these cases, since all these issues are there when it comes to the uh, permanent payroll candidate, they always would like to go for a contract payroll person, wherein a contract payroll candidate uh, would be someone whom they can send immediately. That's the reason in most of the cases the hiring process also is a bit easier in contract payroll staffing. But in permanent payroll, when they want to hire a permanent payroll employee, then the policies and the process of hiring also will be a bit stringent compared to the hiring the contract payroll employee, because contract payroll employee can be sent whenever they don't like them. But when it comes to the permanent payroll, they need to make sure that they give them a proper explanation of if they want to fire also, they cannot fire it immediately. So hiring process is strict, because the relieving process is also strict. But when it comes to when it comes to the contract payroll, hiring is easy and firing is also easy. And these are the different types of employment that we have. It not just applies to SAP employees, even outside employees, outside SAP also. In any of the softwares, this would be the generic process of hiring the manpower, and placing them in different projects. So do write in your comments what we would like to listen after, what kind of a sessions that you would like to uh, you know make. I mean, like, and then I can make some videos based on the suggestions that you give. And yeah, I really appreciate the comments and suggestions that you give it to us. I read every comment and make sure that I respond to them as soon as possible. Maybe I might not respond to some comments immediately, but sooner or later I will definitely do that. Most of you have given some suggestions, and this session also I am preparing it specifically because some of the viewers have given me a suggestion that I make this video. So I that's the reason I'm making this video. And do let me know what are the kind of sessions that you would like to see in the future. Thank you. Have a great day.